All right, Nicole,
Here we are.
we've got left, middle, right.
Left, middle, right. I called it left, middle, east before.
Left, middle, east. It's left, middle, right. Did you say that before? I didn't even catch that.
Yes.
All right, left,
When you
middle,
were talking
right.
about your Italian friends, I thought maybe we should discuss that more in the left, middle, east.
I've got a lot of Italian friends. I love my
Yeah.
Italian friends. All right, so left, middle, right. The headlines in politics. Real estate entrepreneurs and agents need to know. This is our final segment of the show. Nicole, what headlines do we have?
So NBC Boston. Biden touts Logan upgrade as part of infrastructure offensive.
Yeah, here's the big bullet points. $9.5 billion is going to Massachusetts over the next 5 years. Logan Terminal E is getting a 320,000 square foot addition, and 5,900 jobs are going to be created around the airport work alone. So a lot of work going into the Logan Airport. I know we talked about infrastructure in a left, middle, right segment a few weeks ago from a different angle. I just want to focus in on the airports. This particular investment, Biden just said the other day, is the most significant investment happening in Boston since President Eisenhower's interstate highway investment in the 1950s. So they are pumping this one up. And for good measure, if they can solve airport issues, Boston is getting miserable to drive to. I would rather drive to New York City from Connecticut to Boston. That's how miserable the traffic is in that city. And so if they can declog traffic and handle airport issues, that would be a good thing. Here's the angle that I'm tying back. This is obviously good for anybody selling real estate in Boston, okay? But if I'm an agent right now, I've never seen this done. I would be doing this, going and reviewing the airport in your area, because that is so searchable. People that are just taking a vacation, thinking about moving to a certain area, they're researching or they're looking up rather on Google. Are there any other airports in the area? Maybe there's some private airports. What's the closest airport to, if I'm going to Y or if I'm going to X, what's the closest airport going to be? And so I would do some content around the airports. You could do a lot. You could review the food, the bar scene at the airport.
The bar scene at the airport.
The parking situation. You could review that. You could review the car rental. So some airports are easier to get out of than others. I'd love to know in the comments, like, what's the easiest airport in the country? I've got my list and I want to hear yours, Nicole, okay? So I think RSW in Fort Myers, easiest airport in the world to get in and out of. They put a whole bunch of money into the infrastructure in Fort Myers, Florida, on 75, the interstate down there. So it flows right into the airport, flows right out. Very easy. The car rentals are right there. You don't have a lot of amenities at this airport in terms of restauranting and all of that. But in terms of ease of use of getting in and out, very, very easy. I like going into Dallas. There's two airport options. There's DFW and there's Love. They're right next to each other. I've used both of them. They're both very easy. Vegas is my all-time favorite. They have a system of operation. If you can't find a car to get to wherever you're going in Vegas, and it's right there on the Strip, you can get to the Strip in 5 minutes. So I've always loved the Vegas airport. And then I'll just give a shout out to Bradley in Hartford, Nicole. We were just there.
I love Bradley. I mean, I don't travel much, but that's where I go. That or JFK, but JFK is miserable.
Bradley has always been easy because there's no traffic. Nobody wants to go to Hartford. But what I'll say about Bradley is they just did a big infrastructure overhaul to their car rental. So now the rental is in the same building. You walk from the airport. You were
obsessed with that. And then we had to sit there and wait for 45 minutes because they couldn't find your car.
I'll blame that on Alamo. But the infrastructure that they built, Nicole, what a beautiful building that was to make so that the car rentals aren't all scattered around. Now, LaGuardia, New York, they've been working on that airport forever. I'll tell you what, the Delta Lounge in LaGuardia.
Yeah.
Check it out. It's amazing. It's one of the best Delta lounges. The new one. It's one of the best Delta lounges in the country.
Yeah.
And so their restaurant scene and all that is great, but they still haven't solved the problem of getting a car rental. You got to drive into some obscure neighborhood in New York, in Queens, and it's a absurd. You do not want to rent a car from LaGuardia. So for all the money and 10 years of work that they put into LaGuardia, they still haven't solved that problem. Maybe that's in the final phase. I don't know.
You
Nicole,
have a lot to say about airports here.
I'd love to know in the comments, what's the easiest
jeepers.
airport and for what reason? And listen, this is great content. This is searchable content. Do this in your market. Like, review the whole airport, break it down to a 10-part series.
I do love the whole parking part because I travel. I've been traveling alone or even with my children by myself, and that's always the most like, where's the parking? How do I get there? How do I get from the parking lot to the airport? Where do I need to go? Because obviously, when you're traveling with children too, you don't want them to be afraid if you're afraid. So I do think the parking is a big one. Where's the long-term parking? How far is it? All that. I think you're kind of onto something. I think for me as a parent, the parking is a little bit more important than the bars. But if I'm traveling by myself, the bars are definitely the most important.
And if you're an agent, like, everybody's done the restaurant tour. I'm not saying don't do it, but this is an opportunity to create content that not many agents or no agents in your market have ever done before. Attack the airport scene, own the Google searchability around it.
Okay, number 2, NPR, $350 million for WeWork co-founder shows how broke and biased venture capital is.
Yeah, so this one is tying into real estate just because of the venture that they're doing here. So Adam Newman, who was the WeWork co-founder, he basically, a lot of people would say, single-handedly crashed WeWork. Okay, so he got a whole bunch of money. I mean, they were at one time worth $47 billion before they came crashing down. He just got a new venture started up. It's already a unicorn venture, which means it's already over $1 billion. He was given the $350 million investment, which is just enormous, into a yet to be launched real estate venture. Okay, so let's talk about that venture and then why this is controversial right now. So they say this venture, Flow, FLOW, is going to be a direct strike on the housing crisis. Now, and this is why he's getting a lot of heat for getting this money, because he hasn't really said how he's going to solve that housing crisis. They're going to operate and manage thousands of apartments. So they're basically going to become property managers. They've bought in thousands of units, okay? And they've hinted at potentially doing a rent to own. That would be the new wrinkle here. You don't see a lot of these big companies going and buying up thousands of units and then saying, okay, we're going to have a rent to own option. But they're talking a lot of WeWork talk. There's going to be this community. People are going to be able to hang out together. There's going to be all these amenities, this concierge service, blah, 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 blah. What I'll say to Andreessen Horowitz, who is the venture capitalist who gave Adam Newman the money, it's been 3 years since WeWork. You better really make sure that he understands what he's doing in the real estate world. We've seen so many people come into the real estate world and not really make it because they didn't know what they were getting themselves into. This property management is one of the if you're a property manager, a property manager, like, in the comments, is that not one of the hardest jobs in the entire planet, right? Thumbs up if you agree with that. So here's where the controversy is, Nicole. He failed with WeWork and he's getting this $350 million. So 16% of investment partners at VC firms are women. So only 16% of investment partners at VC firms are women. 3% are Black, 4% are Latino. It's not shocking that women founders have received only 1.9% of venture dollars so far in 2022 when you look at those numbers. This is what was told to NPR in an email. Black-founded startups in the U.S. raised less in quarter two 2022, $324 million, than Adam Newman just received in a single check from Andreessen Horowitz. So Andreessen Horowitz did not respond to requests for emails. They're getting beat up on a couple of fronts here. One, that they haven't been clear how they're going to strike the housing crisis. And two, that he's getting this much money after failing at WeWork. I would at least know about the controversy here And especially if I'm in an area where there's a lot of property management going on, or if I'm getting into property management, listen, why you want to work with someone locally. I mean, Wall Street Journal has reported a whole bunch of stuff on this guy, partying, unusual exuberant excess. Like, you can read about it if you'd like. But this is another reason why working with the local expert, the local property manager, the local real estate educator is to your benefit when you see things like this. And Nicole, your thoughts on basically women not getting any of this VC money?
I thought we were talking about WeWork. I mean, it's always bullshit. I mean, women always have to try a little harder, and then when they get it, it's like they turn into a headline and think that they're doing God's work. So that's how I feel.
A little heat from Nicole. All right, what else we got?
Burger King from CNN. Burger King has a plan to make you fall in love with the Whopper again.
All right, so love this. Nicole, were you Burger King or McDonald's growing up?
So I was a McDonald's girl. Definitely McDonald's. It was in town. I actually really loved the Wendy's burger. Wendy's was my favorite, but I'm definitely a Big Mac girl.
All right, me too. So I would get the chicken sandwich when I go to Burger King. So this is CNN reporting this. So Burger King is going to put $400 million into improving their brand. So $400 million into improving the brand. What does that mean? $250 million of that is going to go towards technology and kitchens and remodels. So $250 million of the $400 million going to tech, kitchens, and remodels. $150 million is going to ads and digital product. So I'm going to tell you right now, and the main focus here, Nicole, is going to be all about what they're about, which is the Whopper. Okay, so they're going to get back to what they're known for, the Whopper. I will tell you right now, this is a huge fail by Burger King. This investment might put them out of their misery. You see people like Mr. Beast coming out with his burger. I don't know if you've seen that, but there was tens and tens of thousands of people. He launched his first burger store, his first burger restaurant. Tens and tens of thousands of people lining up for the Mr. Beast burger.
Mr. Beast.
And you've got Burger King now doing the opposite with their investment. They're going to take $400 million and put it into technology and running ads. They're going to go super old school. You know they're going to. You're going to see them on commercials that people aren't paying attention to on Sunday football, while Mr. Beast is doing the one thing that's actually working to drive business in America today. Mr. Beast has spent a career on YouTube creating content, and now he's leveraging that content creation machine that he's built up to go out and start a burger business that could literally put if he scales it, it'll put Burger King out of business. He could compete with McDonald's with the amount of attention that he has. So if I'm an agent, I'm going to learn from the mistake that Burger King is about to make right now. And I'm going to invest in my brand, yes, but I'm going to invest almost 100% of it into how do I create more competition than anyone else in my marketplace? How do I do what Mr. Beast does and create content at scale so I can use that to get attention? But if you're investing in technology, we know the best CRM is the one that you use. If you're just going to only invest in technology, that isn't going to get you the business in a shrinking market. If you're going to invest in traditional means like billboards, bus stops and that kind of, and TV, you're going to be far behind whoever in your market decides to become the media company, the content creator of choice in the market. And I would encourage you to not do that and dive deep into the content. Nicole, your thoughts there?
No bus stops. Those are out.
I think the bus stops are out.
Out.
We've never talked about bus stops. We've done a billboard once.
We did do a billboard once. We've never talked about a bus stop.
And we've never talked about a billboard since then, have we?
Some have. Some have.
I'll go on record. We'll likely
not you.
never do a billboard
again. Yeah.
That was listen, especially if you have limited funds, go and create a whole bunch of content. That is, if you look at what Kim Kardashian is doing right now, Mr. Beast, all of these businesses that they're starting have been built on this content empire that they have created.
For sure. And their followers. Again, I mean, if you got 10,000 people lining out of your restaurant, I mean, you're doing something right.
That's right. Hey, guys, appreciate you checking out this episode of The Real Word. If you want the full episode, go over to the Broke Agent YouTube. That's where we're hosting the full podcast. If you want to continue to see the segments broken out and the short clips, stay right here on the Real Word YouTube.